Namaskar. Hearty welcome to 13th session of BIMSTEC Literary Festival being organizing by Sahitya Academy in collaboration with the Foundation of SARC Writers and Literature Postwall. And in this session is dedicated to poetry recitation, and each one of the participant is being allotted with the 7 minutes. And in this session is going to be chaired by none other than Dr. Ashraf Juwalji from Bangladesh. And in this session we have Rubana Haq from Bangladesh, Trina Chakravarti from India, Arundhati Subramaniam from India, Professor Sanjukta Das ma'am from India, Gopal Ask from Nepal, Sandarshi ji Sudhu Singhe from Sri Lanka, Nisansala Dharmasena from Sri Lanka, and Ashraf Juwalji from Bangladesh. Now may I request Dr. Ashraf ji to kindly take over the session.
Thank you for nice introduction. It's very good to see all of you over here in BIMSTEC, though we expect that we'll be there in daily to meet each other. But unfortunately this not happen. Hopefully in March we will meet each other. And the list here in 13th session, I feel really excited because the name of the poets are, everyone is well known, and they are very much well known in their own language, even in internationally. So Rubana Haq is not there. I would like to request Trina Chakraborty from India. She is my friend, and she is writing both in Bengali and English, and she is very much well known to even Bangladesh, and in the SARC country. A lot of friends are there of Sanjukta. I think she just visited Nepal last month to attend a literary program. So here is Trina Chakraborty.
Thank you, Ashraf, for this nice introduction. Am I audible properly?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
So first of all, I would like to thank the organizer for organizing this beautiful event. But of course, it will be much better if we meet physically this time. And I can see a lot of my friends here also. So very good afternoon to everyone. So mostly I write in Bengali, of course, but today I will read some of my English translations. So I will start with the poem, What Picasso Knew. Through various cubes, one could fathom a man correctly. Picasso knew it. You thought our fates run in straight lines. All the zigzags are actually all straight lines in their core. Left, right, and about, all these turns are useless. I thought in a circle. Wherever I start, I must return to the same possibility. We thought mirror is the only truth. Truth is just a reflection. When checked it out, I realized it is actually a weapon, if one could break it open right. The next one is tourist spot. An empty head is lying on the city walk with no memory inside. He was a soldier. One can still see the ceasefire marks on his face. Tourists have gone. They want to internalize the fall of an empire. Cameras capturing group photos and selfies. Lovers pose for moments to be recorded. Kids run around. A magician chooses it as a suitable backdrop for his show. Tourists cheer. They love war stories, as they love adding a bit of salt in their fresh fruit juices. On the city walk lies the hollow head without memories. You can make out he was a brave man. Remnants of the glorious tradition can still be seen smeared on the face. Dilemma. 0 and 1. I have never disclosed my identity, never supported any one of them easily. 0 and 1, all the fallacies lie in between them. Even if dragged towards apocalypse, I could not choose either of them. 0 and 1 have taught me, in fact, restlessness can also be a kind of state. I think I have time. Untraced. How could you identify me? I have no special marks, like a cut on forehead. I used to travel on a road regularly, but it has no finite length. Every day I used to chat with a tree, but it has no memory. I used to stand for long in rain, but it has no record. Then how could you identify me? For reference, there are few ordinary dreams and deflections without shadows. In such trivialities, in such accumulated silence, how could you able to identify me? And how could you identify my never taken step that might be immensely required? The next is all about nirvana. I do not know anyone named Tirthankar. After sending a friend request, he went out, maybe towards Africa or Shimultali. The city has a bad reputation as it allows rain but no rainy season. Roads already changed their cover picture. Now it is very difficult to locate the actual address. Now, thinking about Tirthankar, I can just recall the friend request. About nirvana, only his old smile, like an embarrassed letter caught in hand, smoking a lonesome, meaningless cigar. The last one. The city like a poem. The city like a poem absorbs me from far away. They say it's about love. It's about light. The roads are scattered like old metaphors. The statue with huge wings waits there for someone I never met. How far can you go to find love? The labyrinth of Notre Dame whispers, it's about night. The roads seem familiar, though I never went there. Their boundlessness brings me to some unknown. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ajit Namji, for inviting me in such a beautiful program. Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you, Trina. I think I have read all of your poem in some, I think, in Bengali, and 0, 1, and 1 was excellent, and even in English, I can recall all the lines and all the and all other poems actually really reflects a lot of things, especially the last one was excellent. So thank you for your nice poems. And now I would like to request Professor Sangyukta Dasgupta madam. I would not like to introduce her because she himself, so known to us in Bengali literature and even in English in that part. So there is no need of any introduction. I am very much fond of her poetry and I'm eagerly wait to hear from her. Professor Shangjukta Dasgupta, madam.
Thank you, Ashraf, for that very, very generous introduction. And thank you, Ajit ji, for inviting me once again to this program and, of course, Sahitya Academy. And I'm really very, very happy to be here this afternoon and with Sahitya Academy absolutely watching how I perform. Naturally, I am a little scared as well, but wonderful to be with these poets, and especially Trina, who I just heard. Beautiful poems, Trina. And today my plan is to read a few poems which will be included in my forthcoming book. And of course, as you might know, that there are strong social concerns in my poems, and I have specifically chosen a few of those to share with you this afternoon. So the first poem is titled Again. And I'll read it now. Again, when did it begin? When Draupadi was disrobed? When Sita burned herself alive? When thousands of satis were burnt alive on their dead husbands' funeral pyres? When 12,000 honorable women, led by their honorable queen, dived into the raging flames to save their honor and purity? When even some time ago, a 18-year-old was tied to the blazing funeral pyre of her dead husband, sati, self-immolation, all the accused were acquitted. Park Street, Kamduni, Hyderabad, Hathras, Unnao, Katwa, Hanskhali, Suzette Jordan, Nirbhaya, Bilkis Bano, rape and gang rape of female bodies, no caste, religion, or class exempt, a timeless, unabashed national sport. So that is my first poem. I will now move to the second one. And the second one is Accident of Birth. And this too is of social concern, anthropological, and also sociology, and also not specifically gendered, this one. Accident of birth. If only the Rohingyas, the Jews, the Muslims could have chosen the branded wombs carefully. Who is a Rohingya? Who is a Jew? Who is a Hindu? No one asked. No one squirmed. The ectoplasm and the fetus are so dumb. They could have committed suicide right away instead of being born to die every day. No one asked, no one squirmed. COVID-19 impacted everyone equally. Muslims, Hindus, Parsis, Sikhs, Dalits, Christians, even atheists were vaccinated with the same vaccines. None were accused of committing any sins. The pages of history can't yet crack the mystery of such murderous motives, such heinous hate towards humans who look like any of us, yet are shriveled, emaciated, unkempt, clad in cast of clothes and footwear, many without such drapes of civilization, living in precarious camps and scrappy shelters, bare bodies, hungry bellies, thirsty throats, barbecued for the innocent accident of birth. Their dazed parents through the centuries have felt so inexplicably guilty lifelong for no fault, no fault, no fault of their own. No accident could be more devastating than being born in Rohingya, Dalit, or Muslim wombs. No accident could be more devastating than the accident of birth, alas.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow.
So that's the second poem. Is there time for any more?
Why not, ma'am? If there is no time for Sanjita Das Gupta, ma'am, whom shall we are going to give?
No. That is not fair on anyone. Okay. All right. This one, if these are becoming really serious, this one is a feminist poem, but maybe it's a fun poem. That's the way it was written. It's called Millennial Sita. So the young women who are born in the last 20 years, I guess. Millennial Sita. Sita wanted to fly to Dubai. Sita wanted to gamble in Las Vegas. Sita wanted to spend nights in Paris. Sita wanted a bungalow in Luton's Delhi. Sita was an engaged, desiring subject. When dreams and desires were deleted, Sita trailed behind the commander-in-chief. Sita cooked meals for brothers and others. Sita loved mutton biryani and murg basalam. The brothers and others loved paneer and sambar. The brothers and others munched every leaf and fruit, ate everything that grew on trees and under the ground. Sita dreamt, salivated, fantasized. Alas, the elusive mutton biryani and murg masalam behaved as incorrigibly as the coy, elusive, golden deer. Sita was not in chains. Sita was not encaged. Sita was bound within. Invisible borders, barricades, and speed breakers, lines of control more dense than lines in graph sheets. Sita was confused. The books she read were freedom songs. The life she led was rigorous imprisonment lifelong. Millennial Sita's degrees surrendered to the decrees of others. Others, mothers, fathers, brothers were everywhere. In Dubai, Las Vegas, Paris, Luton's Delhi. Others, mothers, fathers, brothers wagged their fingers from their patriarchal towers. Millennial Sita did not dive into the arms of the ravaged planet Earth. Millennial Sita zipped up the spacesuit and left for the planet Mars. So, thank you. So, I've sent Sita to Mars. More liberating.
That's great. That's great.
Excellent, madam. All the 3 poems actually has 3 different dimension, and the arena of your poem, words, covered the whole universe. First poem was really excellent because in everywhere, not in even India, Bangladesh, or USA, or England, everywhere the women are, tortured in different way, and actually men are talking a lot, but finally the result is same, and day by day it's creating a lot of problem, and the things are going bad. And the other 2 points are really excellent, madam. Thank you for your.
Thank you. Yeah, and the men are not to blame at all. They are victims of patriarchy.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Here. So
thank you. Looking forward to listening to the others and learning.
Yeah. So I'd like to request poet Gopal Ash from Nepal, and I'd like to request him to introduce him first and then recite his poem. Very short introduction, because actually I don't have his introduction. I don't meet him personally, or I can remember him even. And sorry for that. So poet Gopal Ash from Nepal.
Unmute the audio.
Please
Audio.
unmute.
Unmute.
Yeah, please unmute your. Okay, now it's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you for calling me and inviting me, respected Sister Arjit Kaur and the chairman, today chairman, Dr. Ashraf from the Bangladesh. I am Megopal Ashke. I am the member of the Language Commission Board of Nepal. And I used to write in Nepalese, Hindi, Bhojpuri. Bhojpuri is my mother tongue, mother language. And also I use Maithili and others in the language. Now I'm going to recite my poem, Martyr's Widow, Sahid Ki Vidhwa. If you allow me, then I will try to read another poem. It is Suhagrat, but at the present, I am reciting my poem, Martyr's Widow. Every afternoon, when I sit by the shade of the dried pollard tree and fill my holder with grass, I fix my eyes that has turned stony in the course of perpetual sweat. I take a long breath and gradually relax. That very moment, a sparrow sit on my holder, beats it with its beak, and starts chirping. I am filled in with hope of my spouse's return. A tide runs through my body, and that very moment, a hooty-tune, titihiri, flies above my head, cracking as if it is astonishing my loneliness. I have spent several nights thinking that when the sparrow tries to share some pain in my life, why does the hooty-tune outstrot it? I could understand the mystery only when I read the news of his involvement in the disguise and final strike of the liberation movement. As a widow of my martyrs, my chest said, happy, but eyes filled with tears. I ran towards the same dried plastery. This time my eyes were stuck at the bush on this side of the river. My hope for his return abruptly ended, and for the first time I felt sorry that everything of mine was gone. Then I buried my wet eyes in the earth. With the trembling eyes, waving fingers, I started digging the ground. If the ground spills, I shall become a Sita. But at that very moment, the sparrow arrived there chirping. Its beaks was bleeding. What really happened? I chirped near me once again and turned in feeble. I was astonished. The bird continued to flap its wings, and while its sounds collapsed in the air. The word dying that way remained an unsolved mystery. However, that mystery became friend of mine. When it turned dark, Hittitu did not come today, neither did it sound. I understood. Hunter had no reason staying back in the jungle after the hunting was over. Actually, thank you. Give the chance me to recite my poem. And if you allow me, I want to recite a small poem written in Hindi. Um, yeah, can I read, sir? Yeah,
Yeah, you can, please.
yeah. Thank you, sir. सुहागरात मेरी कविता का शीर्षक है सुहागरात. जिस दिन मेरी सुहागरात थी मैंने उसके साथ छेड़छाड़ नहीं किया। उसके बाबुल से दूर हुई आंखों को और अधिक नहीं रुलाया। मैंने धीरे से उसकी उंगलियों को थामा और वह जब तक चाहती रही उन लोगों के बारे में जानता रहा जो उसके कारण मेरे कुछ हो गए थे। रात भर इधर उधर की बातें की और सो गया। तुम कहोगे शिखंडी है, तुम कहोगे शिखंडी है, सुहाग रात में भी सो गया। पर तुम्हें क्या मालूम, मैंने सिर्फ एक रात को सहानुभूति का आंचल ओढ़ा, सिर्फ एक रात को अपने प्यार जता, अपने जीवन की बाकी तमाम रातों को सुहाग रात बना लिया। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you. Both the poems are actually good, and that especially the last one in Hindi, because you all understand Hindi, so that it's very nice to hear in word from you. So now I'd like to request Nishan Sala Dharmasena from Sri Lanka, and I'll also like to request her to introduce herself with a brief introduction and recite her poem.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I would like to thank Mrs. Kanchana Priyakant, who nominated for this event as well. Introducing myself, I'm Nisansala Dharmasena Bartholomews. I work as a lecturer in the field of telecommunication engineering with a basic degree in information technology and master's in information technology. I went towards postgraduate diploma in international relations, as well 2 diplomas in journalism, as well translation and interpretation. In 2019, I published my first collection of poetry called Fleeting Moments with the publisher Surasa Publishing House. In 2020, it was nominated for the Best Poetic category in Godege Literary Award. In 2022, I published my second collection of poetry, which is called My Womb, a Barren Land. From this, I will be reciting 3 poems. The first one is called Unmarked Graves in Unmarked Cemeteries. I'm the product of all my ancestors dying, their deaths never becoming legends. Unmarked graves in unmarked cemeteries. I'm the product of all my ancestors dying. There are revolutions written and unwritten, words spoken and symbols crafted, cultures born and entire civilizations lost. I'm the product of all my ancestors dying, thousands of emotions born, felt, yet never shared. Like happiness slowly walking into loneliness, I'm the daughter of this mythical island. I'm the product of all my ancestors dying. The next poem, it's called The Forgotten Lands. The first one that I recited was inspired by the insurgency era in Sri Lanka, 1981 to 1988. More than 60,000 perished. Then within the civil war of Sri Lanka, Jaffna Library was burned down. So this is dedicated to all of that. Forgotten lands. You are like an entire language forgotten, as if wiped away within a civilization lost, as if the whole library of Alexandria burning, or the library of Jaffna here in Sri Lanka. Flames into fires, fires into ashes, ashes into dust, dust into stars. The cycle of life repeating, completing, again and again, until no words are ever spoken of these forgotten languages again. The last poem is called Number 16. As humans, we travel from place to place, so this is dedicated for all of those who lost our memories within these journeys. Number 16. Number 16 was a happy place compared to others. Wooden covered walls with beautiful designs, yet darkness crept in. Darkness always had a way of creeping in, so this time too we left. Each took their own turn to visit each and every room, making a journey on their own, as if saying one final goodbye to all the memories once lived. Heart was breaking at leaving walls, walls vibrating with memories. Each one lingering slowly and caressing nooks and corners of an empty space, shedding a few silent tears hidden from others. Yet all had a face with red-stained eyes and a brave smile, as if smiling to cheer on others. It was one of the hardest of goodbyes, leaving an empty house, which was once a beautiful home. The one who came last locked the gate, and she was carrying a pail turned to color green, as if too sad to leave behind even a single shade of memory. That last one was me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nishan sir. All the 3 points actually, especially the second one, I think it was about the distraction of libraries in Sri Lanka. But this is a common in the world history. We have seen a lot of seen in world history that they are just why the literature is enemy of them. We don't know, because literature and libraries kept the history of ancient time to present, but every invader actually they love to destroy it, but no problem. Time will again rebuild them and everything is again settled as before. So thank you for your nice poem. Now I think it's time for me. So I'd like to recite one poem which was translated from Professor Muhammad Nurul Huda. I think it's a long poem. Please try to keep patience. The headline of my poem is "Death is in fact a newborn child." Last night, I traveled the whole world, gathering only what didn't surprise me. In the skeleton of addiction, America suffers from asthma within the walls of smoke. In the weight of bullet, the Arabs suffocate under tall yellow attire. In the appearance of breed, the terrified Africa stands with a cascade of mine. In the inspiration of interest, diffused Europe burns its finest limbs of gold. In the wound of pillow, Asia crazily moves hands and legs within the bag of signal. Between light and darkness, there is introversion and hazy map piercing the tongue. The art is just a simple bubble of child's leaf, anguishing, weeping behind watermark, though there is no ground of revolt anywhere now. Civilization is in splits, feeling of religion under curse, prison houses in clusters, damp and wet skin pores. All resentment of time targets the swollen belly of watermelon. Who has permitted him to wrap the flag around the body? Constitutions. Constitution is just a little carved leg of a polio patient who sucks the veil of semen riding on the back of a mule. He bothered little where the ship of mourning has anchored. Printed in costly pages, he just opens his limitations in the web of capitalism. The fold of the orange are broken into pieces. All eagerness targets at the wax-covered apple. The face of time resembles the burnt and twisted potato. It's not an auspicious symptom at all. Intercourse between two mules give a birth to a horse. That's not an auspicious symptom too. This inclining of time towards a silver knife and a golden nymph, this free mixing of the temperament of a palace and hazy brass, this enmity between a bookshop and a shoe repairer, emotion-choked sex act between the rich and cries of dogs, barren shouts in favor of girdles of hunger, history of millions of miles inside stockings, such political rise of a loose and flabby penis, all these are not good symptoms at all. Food for laughter. Yes, death is the only food for laughter. Death of men is the food for laughter. Death of birds and animals and plants is the food for laughter. Death of hills, oceans, skies, houses, societies, and dreams is food for laughter. Everywhere the killer shies fly on in public, on secret, maybe here too, where their loyal bedmates, they pain kisses on our anger. We make them friends swallowing the saliva of hatred and etc., etc., etc. Alas, we can enter the volatile cave of death, hugging them cordially. It is not a matter of regret for them, though they want to devour death. Death does not devour them. Then we hear the sounds of celebrating the hoops of delights and smiles for future, and we smiled. So that was the first one. If time permitted, then I would like to recite another one. Can I?
Why not? Why not? Why not? Please.
Okay, thank you. So the next poem was, this is the poem, name of the poem is The Poet and His Lover, and which was translated by poet Amitabh Kaur. So I am going to recite this poem. Have you come to teach me John Arthur Rimbaud in Rains Among Nature and at Dawn? Don't you know the cushions of most savory flesh lies in a slut's blessings? The thing you consider as design of doomsday is actually lost, now salvaged, Mohastangor. I have seen morning of dispersed bricks on your radioactive skin. My fair lady, you better show your 13-year-old kiss on the mirror of memory and watch how the Padma breeze floats with male vigor, piercing all constellations. Today, here's a proposal to Russell Rahan's poem through you. Tell your daddy to concentrate deeply on the epoch-making invention of cultivation of fingers. I see some young people selling acumen of silence. They are dragging and pulling down Al-Mahmud along eloquent harpoons of furniture. The way the pet clocks agree with them is very loud, in very loud voices. It seems Al-Mahmud's lips have crossed Beijing and settled on some abundant feathers in Gobi Desert. Do you remember a rain-plagued rickshaw and a band male drawing a tattoo of a lobster on your neck? Do you remember him setting fire in the icy fireplace called your body? Or has your memory suddenly gone beneath the piling of a flyover? I can't sleep. With battle cries all around, my worship is like a startled vulture. It roams in the poems of Imtiaz Mahmud. I wait by the side of Imtiaz's grave for a long time. I wait for his lady love. I wait only to ask a question to her. Why can't a woman appreciate poet's love in time? You came running towards me on an advice of neo-convert and sophomore doctors and told me a woman doesn't appreciate her lover's, poet's love in time. And she wants to remember her poet love while making safe love to her husband. But every woman wants to preserve the embryo gifted to her uterus by a great poet stealthily. Thank you. So that was the two poem. I think it's time to, okay. So I think it's time to closing the session.
You can close.
Before closing, concluding this session, I'd like to Thanks Futsal and Sahitya Academy, and definitely I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to Ma Ajit Kaur, because in the state of her health, I know, because she is for a long time she's going to convene like this kind of program, and in South Asian people, actually the literary people knows everyone with the program which was organized by Futsal. So again, we are hope that we'll meet each other physically next March or October or September, whenever, no problem. We will be waiting for that. And thanks to all of the charming poet over here, you recite excellent poems from all of you actually, and we enlightened with your sounds and words and verse. Thank you again to all. Hopefully we'll meet again in another session or another day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf ji. After listening to poetry of Professor Sanjita Das Gupta ma'am, especially.
Thank you.
I was remembered my university days. I was told by on one particular occasion, one of my friends said that every birthday is a death day. I was really moved. Yes, of course, every birthday is a death day, but somehow I felt it's something like a pessimistic approach, because after all, we live in optimism only. We don't know what is going to happen in the next minute, because if I'm not wrong, Socrates said that the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on the fighting an old, but building a new. So after all, we live in optimism only, and I think because we are living in the age where poet also surrounded, the neck of the poets are being surrounded by the wires, as if they are scientists. Of course, a poet is a scientist. He's a scientist more than anyone. So we are living in a technology world. So because we have with Miss Nisanshala Dharmasena ji, she's totally different, belongs to a different field of study, but poetry is not being coined to only particular people. No, it's for everyone, because after all, it's as Sanjita Das ma'am said that poetry is a spontaneous overflow of thoughts in tranquility. So no one say that it's only for a group of people. So with these few words, I sincerely thank all the.
Is Ajit Kaur ma'am there? We would like to hear some words from her, if it is possible.
I think ma'am may be listening in a invisible form, if I'm not wrong.
I think so.
So I sincerely thank all the participants of today's program, including the chair, Dr. Ashraf Juvalji, particularly Professor Sanjita Das ma'am, Ms. Trina Chakrabarti ji, and Ms. Nisanshala Dharmasena ji, and Gopal ji from Nepal, for contributing your erudition and emotions and thoughts to this session. And I sincerely thank on behalf of Dr. K. Srinivas Rao ji, Secretary Sahitya Academy, and Dr. Ajit Kaur ma'am, President Poswal, for coming over here and sparing our valuable time. With this session has come to end. Dhanyawad.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you.